asked you about strategies to help people to do better in intermittent fasting. So there must be various things you can do, different tricks. What can you share with us?
Yeah. And, just real quick, the argument about the plant toxins, it's true. They do have defense mechanisms and anti-nutrients. Doesn't necessarily mean they're bad for you. You could create like a hormetic response where your body has to adapt and your digestive system has to adapt and get stronger. So those plant toxins could actually benefit you unless you have just severe leaky gut, and eliminating them short term would be a wise idea. Animals do have defense mechanisms with their feet and their claws, like they could protect themselves that way. Plants don't. So I see that argument, but I also am with you with, we shouldn't just avoid them. That's not the solution. We ate them forever. It's just a matter of your digestive system being able to adapt to it and create a hormetic response. So there's a lot of back and forth in that community, but either way, there's a lot that me and you agree on there. With intermittent fasting, yeah, some strategies would be to look at fasting like a muscle, similar to if you started to, let's say you heard about CrossFit, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, this CrossFit sounds amazing. Just like you hear about fasting, it sounds amazing. But you wouldn't just go to your CrossFit gym and do a full CrossFit workout if you've been a couch potato for 10 years. That would look ugly. You'd probably hurt yourself. Similar to fasting. If you've been eating every 2 to 3 hours, high carbohydrates, and you go and you do an 18-hour fast tomorrow, that'll look ugly. You might even hurt yourself. So you got to build up this fasting muscle. Maybe you start with a 12-hour fast and you just go 12 hours with not eating, just having water and some electrolytes. And then you start bumping back the breakfast from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. So you go 13-hour fast and then 14-hour fast. That would be a great tip for beginners. And then keeping your electrolytes up are very important, because when you start to lower glucose and insulin with fasting, you start to release excess water weight, which is great because you start to look lighter and feel lighter. But there's also this diuresis that occurs with the kidneys releasing electrolytes and minerals. So you got to replenish that. Otherwise, you might not feel that great. So keeping the minerals up. And then you can utilize
what do you recommend for keeping the electrolytes up?
High quality sea salt is great. Just having some sea salt with water. Cream of tartar is also great. It has some good amount of potassium. So, and then apple cider vinegar. So I always recommend what I call the Keto Kamp cocktail, which is water, 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, a teaspoon of cream of tartar, and then a pinch of salt in the morning in your fast as a way to kind of replenish that. Or you could just take like a mineral supplement. Either one of those work.
It's a great tip. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. And then there's also fasting crutches, right? So if you feel like you're having a challenge going from a 14-hour fast to an 18-hour fast, but in the 4 hours that you're having a challenge with, you want to have maybe some coffee with some butter, like a bulletproof coffee, or coffee with some healthy fat as a way to get you to that 18 hours. I think that's a great tip. I think it's a great crutch, right? It's something that
you don't think that breaks the fast. Do you feel that breaks the fast at all?
Well, I think you won't get as many benefits doing that, but I think you'll get a lot of the benefits. So if your goal is to raise glucose and to lower glucose and insulin, then you could still do that with the fat, because fat's not going to raise glucose and insulin. So it's a crutch, but you will not get you'll get the most benefits if you did a water fast for sure. But as a crutch, I think you could still get most of the benefits. There's also an argument to be made if you keep your protein under 20 grams, you could still potentially get some autophagy because you're not really spiking too much mTOR. That could be something you do. There's also bone broth fasting and partial fasting. There's the prolon fast. So those are great crutches and tools, but they're not going to give you as much benefits as a straight up water fast. That's the best way to really anti-age your body.
Yeah. So I guess what about if someone says, okay, I've done this fast, for 16 hours, and then I'm famished, and then they may end up eating everything in sight, and that may kind of, hurt the overall results in a sense. What do you tell these people? How do they rein that in?
I see that a lot with people who do fasting without lowering their insulin. So eating more of an insulin-friendly diet. It doesn't have to be keto. If keto intimidates you, even doing something like low-carb paleo, bringing your carbs, the average American is eating 300 grams of carbs per day. which I think we could both agree it's pretty damn high and it's not something we should be doing. So even if you don't drop it low enough to enter ketosis, which is 50 grams or less, dropping that down to like 150 grams or 100 grams first for a week or so, and then doing fasting, which will be much more bearable for you. Because the reason why a lot of people get those cravings during a fast and just eat whatever when they break the fast is because their brain is not used to having lower glucose levels. So the brain starts to panic and they eat whatever they want. So doing that will help. But also breaking your fast with protein to start will help prevent the overeating with carbohydrates, because I mentioned what it does to activate the satiety hormone. So break the fast with the protein, or implement the crutches. You might need some more crutches right now as you're building up your fasting muscle. If you're getting those intense cravings and you're breaking your fast eating Cheetos and donuts and all these processed foods, you haven't built up your fasting muscle efficiently yet. So shorten your fasting window from 16 hours to maybe 13 hours and then build back up slowly. That will make a big difference for you.
Okay.